Welcome to college football week number 5 at Wide Right CFB. Now, normally I'd be introducing you to people, but I don't know where they're at. So we're going to hang tight for just a minute. Say hi to Diabolical58. He's already in the chat. Hello, John. How are you doing? I'm going to debut some new stuff here. We'll show this. And we'll show our AP Top 25. And as soon as Jude and Lindsay get here, we will go ahead and move them in here. I will fill time by doing some stupid human tricks. What do y'all like to see first? All right. Let's see. If you have any questions, please ask. Thanks. I worked on it. It was I got a couple more things. Got a few more surprises to show you. I was just waiting for some more folks to show up. But yeah. I wanted to do it last week, but I wasn't sure how the banner actually works. So I had to kind of like play with it throughout the week. So if you were on a Discord chat with me and you saw me lift my arms up like in success, I was like, yes, that means I figured out how to use the banner. So, and as soon as Jude and Lindsay show up, we'll have 3 people watching. All right. It's only me tonight. I kicked everyone else out. Oh, man. This is like we're some lonely dudes right now. This is like 2 dudes talking. We might as well just be on Discord and just, screen record that and just put it out there, right? Should we call Jude and Lindsay via on the telephone is? Yeah, let's see where they're at. Let's call. Let's see. We could, yeah. I'm going to do that. I'm going to call them real quick. Should I do it? I should share. I don't know how to share the call here. Contacts. Let's go to Jude Santa Cruz. Let's see. It starts with S. 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 All right. Can you hear it ringing? Hopefully it doesn't swear. Uh-oh. No call, no show.
Please leave your message for.
Uh-oh. Well, I guess it's just me. So let's just start the show off. I'll be fine by myself, I think. All right. Let's go. We'll debut our top 25. You'll see that we have the ticker tape on the bottom there, the crawl or whatever they call it. It's a banner that shows you who's in the top 25, what's going on today in college football. We have some college football news we're going to start with. Let's go ahead and click on the news of week 5 college football. And I have some additions to show y'all too. So you see the crawl on the bottom, it shows you that Georgia Tech's head coach Jeff Collins was fired on Monday morning. Really, he was fired on Sunday morning sometime, but it took till the Monday to make it official. And some even bigger news is that Georgia Tech fired their athletic director at the same time. So the kind of the way this thing works is they brought the athletic director in, and he was supposed to pick his guy to bring Georgia Tech from this Paul Johnson wishbone offense to this modern, more exciting offense, and it didn't work out. All right, so shall I introduce him? Our next guest covers the West Coast like no other. He's a big fan of the Trojans. That's USC football, that is. And he's got some awesome takes. Please welcome Santa Cruz. Ooh, what's going on?
What's up, man? Sorry I'm running a little bit late.
Hey, now we've got 3 people watching. We got 3 people watching. So you, me, and John.
Awesome.
So I was talking about the news of the week, and so what we got news-wise is Jeff Collins is out as head coach at Georgia Tech. We all kind of knew this was coming. Just the performance wasn't there. They really looked like they need to move in another direction. The interesting thing was the AD was let go as well, and they're moving in a complete different direction. So some names that we've heard thrown out there are definitely Jamie Chadwell. He's the coach at Coastal Carolina. Deion Sanders' name was brought up. He's doing a tremendous job at Jackson State. And, he's a real hero of the Atlanta area. And then, just your typical guys after that. But so we're seeing a trend right now in college football where these coaches, when they underperform, they're getting let go right away because everybody's planning on moving to next season as fast as they can. They don't want to get trapped, with a coach or miss out on recruiting or anything like that.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. They're. I mean, if you're firing your coach, you may as well get on the ball as fast as you possibly can, so you can get the top coach available.
Yeah,
Deion Sanders' name coming up at all?
Yeah, a little bit. I think there's probably more smoke around Jamie Chadwell, the coach from Coastal Carolina, than there's Deion. But and then in other news, Tim Plow is out as offensive coordinator at Boise State. And if anybody watches Boise State football, I'm sorry that you had to subject yourself to that. They lost last weekend to Nevada, who is not very good, but they have managed to beat Boise State and Texas State. So that tells you the level of competition they have faced. And then anybody that played past that, they have lost to handily. So he's out as offensive coordinator. I think their coach is probably on his way out, but I think Boise State's probably one of those programs that isn't going to let their coach go mid-season. I think they're going to hold on to what they got. So that's what we're kind of looking at. And then on the transfer portal side, Hank Bachmeier from Boise State has decided he's going to enter the transfer portal. He hasn't played past 4 games this season, so he's going to be able to keep his eligibility for this season and for next season. So basically, he'll transfer in with 2 years of eligibility, and he wants to go to a program that's going to push him to NFL likes, right? Because that's his goal, is to play in the NFL. That's what he said. So good luck to him. I hope he finds a good place to play. Good luck to Boise State. They're usually a very good program. I hate to see them down, but there's always got to be a loser in every game, right? So got that, and then we got some injury news, man. What's that, Jude?
No, you said there's always a loser in every game, and that's usually the team that scores less points.
Yeah, exactly. So where's the injury news? And I missed a huge injury note on here. But let's start off talking about Stanford running back E.J. Smith. He's the son of Emmitt Smith. He's out for the season. I really hate to see that for him. He's the leading rusher for Stanford. He really makes the team a lot better. It really is a bummer that he's out. And then we have Iowa linebacker Justin Jacobs. He's out with like a soft tissue injury. That's unfortunate too. He was having a pretty good season. And that Iowa defense is really good. They're not terrible by any stretch of the imagination. The offense is to be desired. But as far as the defense goes, the defense is really, really, really good. So it's just unfortunate for him. And then obviously when we go to Texas A&M, the Texas A&M's all-star wide receiver, Anais Smith, he's out for the season too with the season-ending injury. So that's unfortunate because he's a big portion of that offense. I really think it's probably going to affect them just a little bit going forward. So, that sucks. But, that's why you have depth on your team, because you're never guaranteed that you're going to make it the whole season with all,
that's very true.
So what do you think about the banner, Jude? Do you like that?
I was just looking at that, man. That's so cool, man. I like how you got that. What did you had? There's a name for it. What'd you call it last week?
Well, we call it the crawl, but if you just go to banners on the live stream, you can just add as many as you want. So another news, and I guess we should have started off the show by saying this. Our thoughts and prayers go out to everybody in Florida right now. That's a tough situation that people are going through. I know that college football is definitely not the most important thing. Their safety there is most important. So, if you're out there, you hear us, if you watch this later on, we're thinking about you. We hope that, all the best for you. And we actually have some games that are affected by weather because of that. And let's see, what do we? I can get it. We'll just wait for the ticker to show to come across here. Get to the injury notes. So we have some games being moved. I think South Carolina State and South Carolina that moved to Thursday at Williams-Brice Stadium in Columbia, South Carolina, and that was a move for weather. And then we have another game on Sunday that moves Eastern Washington versus Florida. They moved at 11 o'clock on Sunday. And then definitely SMU and UCF both move to Sunday at 12 o'clock. Now, UCF and SMU's game is not going to be broadcasted nationally right now. If you want to catch Florida and Eastern Washington, you're going to have to go catch it on ESPN Plus, and you'll be able to catch where's it at? South Carolina State on SEC Network, as you see on the crawl below. And so there's no really top 25 games that are being impacted by it. And the one game that I was interested to watch was this SMU UCF game. I really think that's going to be a pretty good game. Hopefully all is well in Florida. Everybody makes it through fine, and we get a great game on Sunday. So that's what I'm hoping for. But let's give a shout out to a couple people in the chat. We got Diabolical 58. John, thanks for watching. We got Raging Cajun Garage. He's a diehard Alabama fan. I like it. Raging, thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Thanks for the thumbs up. So, yeah. Oh, and the East Carolina South Florida game, I think they moved the stadiums. They're playing in another town. They're playing in Boca Raton, but they're not playing. They're playing at the FAU stadium because evidently there's two stadiums in Boca. So they're moving to the FAU stadium. So if you're interested, we'll throw the tape up there later and we'll show you. Let's get back to the top 25. Let's just take a quick look at the top 25 and then kind of wait for Lindsay to get here for a few more minutes. Let's click up there. Do that. So we see our top 25. You know, we got our top 5 there: Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, Michigan, and Clemson. And then knocking on the door to that top 5 is somebody in the chat might know a little something about that. The LV for victory, guys. USC.
Hey, man, we're only 2-0. You know, one more win away, man. Someone will go down. Clemson will probably get us there.
Man, though, and that we got some big stuff hiding on the agenda tonight. I mean, big stuff. So we'll talk about that a little bit more. There's definitely some games this week that are going to be exciting, and man, I'm fired up about college football. I don't know about you, but I am excited. But no, I think like there's some scares last week and some teams went down, but I think as this week plays out, I think everybody kind of see the landscape of college football kind of clear out just a little bit. So with that said, let's go ahead. We covered that. Let's bring on Jude. You ready for your Jude's cool takes?
Sure.
All right. So this is our segment, Jude's cool takes. Now Jude's going to give us kind of a breakdown of his pretenders, contenders, games he's going to watch this weekend. We know he's definitely watching USC. So, why don't we start off? You tell me who your pretenders are or your contenders are, and let's go from there.
All right. My pretenders still, if you look at the top 10, you're probably going to have to consider Michigan, maybe Tennessee, and Oklahoma State. Man, those are going to be my pretenders. I do not think they have what it takes to keep moving forward and play the bowl game that they're hoping to or make the college football playoff. There's no way. The team you got to look out for, though, I think, is Ole Miss. Ole Miss is on the rise. They have a tough game this week. I believe they're playing, I want to say, who's Ole Miss playing this week? I think it's a top 25 matchup.
Yes, and it's actually, I have it in as one of our games of the week. And that's going to be Wide Right's one of their games of the week is they're playing number 7 Kentucky's at number 14 Ole Miss, 11 a.m. on ESPN. So you want to go ahead and tune in and watch that. That's definitely one of the show's picks for games of the week. I'm excited about that one. I think there is going to be some hard licks delivered. I think Ole Miss has got one of those offenses that can go and deliver a punch, and we definitely know that Kentucky's defense can go and deliver a punch too. So I think that's going to be a fun game to watch.
What kind of score are you looking at for that game?
Ooh, I'm thinking 28-24, something like that. It's going to be – there may be a score per quarter, but they're going to be hard-earned scores. This is not going to be easy. So what's going on, Baji? Thanks for dropping in. I appreciate it.
Hey, Baji, what's going on? Hey, Ragins. What's up, John? Too. How's everyone doing?
Yeah, I can kind of see where you're coming back with Michigan and Oklahoma State, and they look good, but they don't look great. You know what I mean? Like Michigan looks incomplete when you watch them play, right? Like USC, what I like to watch is USC looked down, but then they found it. They got that dog in them where they can come and they fight back and they can really, push the issue when they need to. Like Caleb Williams led one heck of a drive to win that game, so that was good to watch. That means that they could be a true contender. I think their coach isn't going to allow them to play bad all the time. You know what I mean? I think he's just too good. And then their quarterback and their wide receiver are too good. I mean, it's a good problem to have. So it's like what do they call that? It's embarrassment of wealth. You know what I mean? Or embarrassment of riches. I think they're really, really good offensively. So, and then Michigan, man, I didn't like how Michigan's offense is just incomplete. You know what I mean? It's just like something's missing.
Yeah, they're not really firing on all cylinders. There is something missing from their offense.
All right, so I know who one of your contenders is going to be. I just, in my heart of hearts, I know that it's a 3-letter school, right? We're not we're not talking about that.
Of course, I want USC to be one of my contenders. I think that's a team that has a chance. The talent, the embarrassment of riches, like you said, or embarrassment of wealth when it comes to especially skill positions on offense. And I do worry though, because when we struggle against Oklahoma State, and yeah, we couldn't score against Oklahoma State. What happens when we play Georgia? Yeah, I'm sure they've got a little bit better defense, a lot better defense than Oklahoma State. So if we're having trouble against Oklahoma State, that makes me real nervous against Georgia, because our defense can keep Oklahoma State from scoring, but Georgia, they have just as many players on offense as they do on defense. So that makes me completely nervous. That makes you really, really nervous. But besides,
hit me with two more contenders, not named USC.
Yeah, 2 more contenders, not named USC. Can't go against the Bulldogs. They're the number 1 team in the country. That's why I just talked about them. If we have to play them later on, go on down the line. I'm hesitant to say the Buckeyes. I just don't want to say it. I'm going to say the Kentucky Wildcats. I think they have a chance to do something. And if they can get by Ole Miss this week, man, watch out, dude. I mean, they're a tough team. But on the other hand, I'm going to say Ole Miss as well. Kentucky and Ole Miss. I'm going to say the winner of that game is going to be one of my contenders for sure.
Yeah, that's definitely pretty good. So let's talk about your pretenders, their schedule this week. And one of your pretenders is Michigan. Now, Michigan goes to Iowa City to play Iowa. I think that Michigan's going to have enough offensive defense to beat Iowa.
Iowa's just not going to be able to score.
I know they're going to be able to score enough points to keep up with them. And then another one of your pretenders was Oklahoma State, and Oklahoma State is involved in one of our games of the week. So I don't really want to cover that a whole lot, but they do travel to Baylor, number 16 Baylor. That's going to be a 2:30 game on Fox. Then we get to your third pretender was Tennessee. I believe Tennessee's involved in a decent game this week as well. Let me pull it up on my screen real quick so I can speak more intelligently of it. Where do I have Tennessee at? Now I make myself look silly. I can't find Tennessee.
Yeah, me too.
Maybe they're off this week. They could be. I just have this week's schedule of games in front of me. I don't have them actually. Yeah, I don't have them on here. So, all right. Well, this week they may get a reprieve then. Well, let's talk about your contenders. Georgia is definitely playing. Where are they at? Now we look like disorganized here.
Georgia's playing Missouri.
Georgia plays Missouri. That'll be an easy win for them. I firmly believe that Georgia beats Missouri by. I think Georgia beats Missouri worse than they played last week. I think it's gonna be like 60 something to 63 to like 10. Let's be polite, say 10. Georgia's going to come out hungry and motivated. And then, like I said, we
Kentucky
have
and
Ole
Ole
Miss. Yeah. I don't really want to cover that because that's one of our games of the week. I was kind of hoping that we could
All
get
right.
Lindsey on. We could harass him a little bit more. Ohio State, number 3, Ohio State. They host Rutgers. Rutgers is coached by Greg Schiano. Greg Schiano's a good coach, but is Rutgers going to hang with Ohio State? Not a chance. I think they get, it's just going to be blowout city. So,
Scarlet Knights, man, they're going to get destroyed by the Buckeyes.
Yeah, and then Clemson's in our game of the week. Not one of our ones to watch, but our game of the week. So we'll see what happens. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and send Hunter a text and tell him to hurry up and come on here. I guess Lindsay, if everybody in the chat doesn't know, Lindsay, this is his night to work, so we're we're on his schedule. So I guess it's never too early to talk about our service academies, Jude. You want to talk about some service academy football?
Sure.
All right. We'll pop up our salute to the service academies, and look, I got another crawl for service academies. Feel pretty good. And believe it or not,
that's really cool, dude. I like how you do that, man.
So
Navy at Air Force, Georgia State at Army. Ooh, there's two games. Georgia State and Army. That's gonna be a fun game to watch.
So Navy and Air Force. This is a pretty important game because this is the Commander-in-Chief's trophy that they're playing. The winner definitely puts themselves in the driver's seat to play Army to actually seal the trophy. The loser, they have the hope for one of the winner, the person that beats them to lose. The other one, there's a 3-way tie, and then they got to beat the other team pretty handily to win the Commander-in-Chief's trophy. So there's a lot to it. I mean, it's a really prestigious award, no matter who the Commander-in-Chief is. I mean, like our service academies, they're playing for something bigger in life. So this is just for them to go out there and represent their academy and have some fun. Now, Navy showed some real grit last week in playing East Carolina. They really, they showed what they're made of, and Coach Ken showed that he's still got a few tricks left in the bag, and he's not done yet. And I think this Navy and Air Force game is going to be a lot closer than what maybe the optics tell you. The optics tell you that Navy's not as good as Air Force. Air Force will be able to run the ball at will on Navy. I don't think so. I think Air Force is going to struggle with Navy. I know they're playing in Colorado Springs, so they're playing at altitude. So we know we have that going for us. It is an 11 a.m. game, so it's going to be early for them. 11 a.m. my time. It'll be 9 a.m. for Jude's time, which is got to be fun. You wake up on the Saturday morning and football's on, Jude.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So that's gonna be kind of interesting to see. Then we have Georgia State traveling to Army, and they're gonna be playing on the Hudson against the Black Knights of the Hudson. Didn't Army have like one of the coolest mascots? The Black Knights of the Hudson. It's like they're not messing around. So definitely Georgia State. They've had a big win this year already versus Nebraska. They're definitely a good team. This is going to be a fun game to watch because Army is no joke. Jeff Monken's a great football coach. Army's going to be well prepared. They're going to execute on offense exceptionally. So I think it's going to be a fun game. I think athletes, they match up well. I think there'll be enough deficiencies on either side of the ball. So we'll see some scoring here. We're going to see a lot of total yards gained on the ground. I think it's going to be like one of those ground and pound games. But it's going to be –
you're watching a game straight out of the – in the 1940s, and they're just going to be
yeah, it's definitely it's going to be there's going to be some movement around there. So that's our salute to the service academies. I'm really excited about this weekend's games. Really proud that we have this segment on our show too. This is pretty fun. So I do want to find out. I think there's the Coast Guard Academy may have a football team. I'd like to find out. I don't know what they play, but if they do have it, I do want to include them in our segment if I can find out. So,
my old man was pretty adamant. I never looked into it to see if it was true or not, but he always thought Texas A&M was part of the like a military academy.
Okay,
and I know
I do have the answer for this. I do have the answer for this. All right. So originally, when Texas was its own nation or country, Texas A&M was brought in, and they were the military college for the state of Texas. They trained the Texas military, and so that is true. They are military. Now, there's a portion of the A&M Corps cadets. You have like a after your second year in the Corps, you have an option. You can go and you can just graduate, be in the Corps, and graduate from college and go get a regular job after you're done, or you can be in the Corps and advance yourself to the military from that position. So there is a path where you can split. You either go, to the regular civilian life, or you go to the military side. So, because my son originally was going to go to Texas A&M, but he decided against it later on, and he has a couple friends that are actually in the Corps cadets. So that's my limited knowledge on that. But I do know that originally Texas A&M was Texas Military College. So
Okay, cool.
But no, I'd like to find out. I mean, I guess we could consider Texas a nation. So maybe we'll bring them in our salute to service academies. Kidding.
They absolutely entered the union on their own terms.
But so that'll be fun to watch. I do want to find out about the Coast Guard Academy and see if they have a football team. If they do, we're definitely going to recognize them for their willingness to play no matter what, but our willingness to join no matter what. But if they have a team, we'll follow them and see. So I don't want to get into like the Citadel or DMI or any of those places because they volunteer to go to those places. They don't necessarily. I mean, they're not necessarily. They're military type academies, but they're not directly linked to the military. So
there was a football player for the Denver Broncos back in the late 90s. After Terrell Davis, he was running back. Terrell Davis got hurt. Then I know they had like 3 or 4 years in a row with a different running back that had 1,000 yards. I want to say his name was Mike Davis. And I remember hearing that he played football. Now, I know it's not like the Marine Academy, but you know how the Navy has the brigades?
Yeah.
It was something similar to that for like Marine Corps football. And that's where he got noticed. And he came out and he ended up playing professional football for a few years.
Yep, I remember that. I'm kind of a quasi Denver Broncos fan. So another Marine legend that played college football was Ahmad Hall, played for the University of Texas. May have won a national championship with the University of Texas. Not sure. It's a certain team from California. But we won't bring them up. And then he definitely played for the Tennessee Titans for a couple of years, and he was an instrumental portion of their offense. So it's good to have. All right. Our next guest, he's the beast from the East. He's the assistant to the president of the Doug Flutie fan club, and he is one hell of a picker of college football games. Please welcome Lindsay Cole to the stream. Lindsay, how's it going?
How are you guys? Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Sorry I'm a little late.
Sorry, I didn't mean to freak out 100% on you guys. So, Lindsay, since you're late to the show, I want to show you a few new things that we have to the show. So, we'll click on our wide right CFB banner there. Now I'm going to show you the AP Top 25 on the crawl. What do you think?
I love that.
Was
that easy to set up?
I'm going to say yes, but
in
really your heart of hearts, that's a no. Actually, it went really smooth. I went to the banners tab on there, and I was like, man, I could do this. This is not a big deal.
Oh, it's really good.
I was gonna work on the background and give us a football theme one, but then you have to pay, and I was like, not paying for that. So we'll wait till we're more infinitely popular.
Yeah, once the sponsorship dollars start rolling in.
Yep. Well, maybe we get like Chico's bail bonds to sponsor us, huh? What do you think?
I don't see why not.
They sponsored the Bad News Bears. They'll sponsor us 3. All right, so we covered
if Chico can't do it, maybe the man can.
Chico, the man. So we did that, and then now we have a college football news, and then we have a ticker tape for our college football news showing that Jeff Collins is out, Ton Stansberry is out at Georgia Tech, Tim Plow is out at OC is Boise State, Hank Bachmeier is transferring from Boise State. He's going to enter the transfer portal. E.J. Smith, son of Emmitt Smith, he's out for the season. He's injured. Iowa State linebacker Justin Jacobs, he's out for the season due to injury. And Anaya Smith for Texas A&M, he's out for it. And we have 4 games moved due to Hurricane Ian. Once again, we send our thoughts and prayers out to those affected by the hurricane. If you're a fan of South Carolina State or South Carolina, they are moving to Thursday at 6 p.m. on the SEC Network. East Carolina and South Florida are playing Saturday at 1:30 on ESPN Plus, but the game's moved to Boca Raton. They're going to play at FAU Stadium in Boca. There's 2 stadiums in Boca Raton. And we have Eastern Washington and Florida. They play on Sunday at 11 a.m. on ESPN Plus. Those are Central Standard Times. SMU plays UCF on Sunday at 12 p.m. and that is games talking about TV. This is not going to happen. So if you're a fan of any of those teams, you might want to go and make some adjustments to your viewing schedule. And there's some games impacted by the hurricane. Lindsay, Bocce says hi.
Hey, Bocce, how are you? Good to see you.
So that is our news of the week, and we'll definitely have more news on Saturday night. And like I said, once again, anybody that's out there that's affected, if you know somebody's affected by the hurricane, please give them your thoughts and prayers. It's pretty nasty stuff out there. But we will continue, and we're going to start with Lindsay's lockdowns. Lindsay, what's going on? So you had some pretty good lockdowns. What are you
want to start? You want to do like the contenders and pretenders?
So you want to raise your right hand? Raise your right hand for me real quick, Lindsay. All right, now turn it facing your back, your palm facing your back. Now reach back and pat yourself on the back.
That feels great, thank you.
8-2
Although I did think I just tweaked something, but I think I'm all right now.
8-2 so far. So you're definitely, you might have a third career here. I'm just saying here.
Well,
so let's go with pretenders, contenders. Jude gave me his pretenders, his contenders. Let's hear yours and Lindsay's lockdowns.
all right. My top 3 contenders. Wake Forest for sure. They're going to beat Florida State in a fairly close one, 31-28. I do like the way both teams have been playing. Wake Forest really impressed me last week, and I think Florida State is a force to be reckoned with. But still, I think Wake Forest, because they have the most handsome quarterback in college football today, is going to come out on top by a slim margin of 3 points. Alabama certainly is going to beat Arkansas. I can't see anyone calling that game any differently, and I think it's going to be a walk for Alabama. I will give 17 points to Arkansas, but I think Alabama is going to come away with 42 points on that one. So 42-17 Alabama. And my last contender in the top 3, Kentucky, which has really turned along the last couple of weeks, is going to beat Mississippi. I think 35-28. They'll have a healthy touchdown in there to make the difference in that game.
You are hurting Jude's feelings right now, Lindsay. How
I'm
dare
sorry.
you slaying Lane Kiffin's name in that name?
But even in my own head, I picked USC to win this week. So, you got that going for you.
Of course. So it's exciting.
All right,
So during the show, we will get to watch USC play. Their game starts, the second hour show starts on Saturday night. So We're going to get to watch Arizona State, Joey's team. Anybody can see Joey. Joey's hiding from me right now. Everybody sees Joey. Definitely, we need to have him and Jude on at the same time when Arizona State and USC kick off. Now, after the first quarter, when USC's up by about 500,000 points, we'll let Joey go ahead and go and sulk, and then we'll have Jude go ahead and cheer. All right, what do you think, Jude? You down for that?
I'm very down for that.
All right, Lindsay, let's continue Lindsay's lockdowns here.
My pretenders for the week coming up. Lowly Iowa is going to lose to Michigan by a lot, 54-21. Lowly Rutgers is going to take it on the chin to the Ohio State University, 48-12. And, of course, Georgia Tech is going to lose. No one would ever pick them to win a game this entire season. I will give them a field goal this game, though. I'm going to say that their defense won't be as bad as it's been in the past. I'm going to give this one at Pittsburgh, though, 24-3.
24-3. I like how you think Iowa's going to give up 54 points. I'm really shocked on that one. Iowa's got a fairly, even with Justin Jacobs out for the season, I still think they're a good team. I don't think they're a great team. I think they're good enough to not get 54 hung on them. But if you're right, we're definitely going to Vegas next week. I'll
say this. If you think you're shocked about my picks, think of how I feel.
Have you gone and told your wife, like, hey, honey, I may have some opportunity for a financial opportunity for us? How do you think that's going to go over? How do you think that's going to go over when you try to explain that to her?
I think it'll be met with a okay, honey, and that's about it. That's about as far as that conversation will go.
So, Lindsay, give me an upset of the week. Tell me a team that's going to go down to a inferior team. Give me an upset of the week, Lindsay.
Upset of the week. Texas Tech is going to beat Kansas State 28-24. I feel really good about what Texas. I feel good about what Texas Tech has been doing, and Kansas State is no slouch either. But this is the week for Texas Tech. They've been on a roll, and I like what they're doing. I'm going to give them this game this week.
All right, so this is my thought on this one. I think that you don't necessarily like Texas Tech as a team. You like their uniforms. You're like,
I think it's the perfect time to make that pick because Texas Tech, they're kind of flying high right now, and Kansas State, man, they did what they always do. They played Oklahoma tough and they upset them. So I think they're due for that letdown. So I think that was the perfect pick, Lindsay.
We'll see. I'm going to get select one of these weeks. This might be it.
Well, I'll tell you what. Hopefully, it's not the week that we put money on your picks.
That's going to have to happen. I hope it's not. I wouldn't.
So let's say this. We're going to take your picks and Jude's picks, and we're going to take a reasonable amount of money, the minimum that we can bet, and we're going to put them on each one of your picks, and we're going to see how your picks pay. As an experiment, it's for science, right?
USC is going to cover against Arizona State, probably win by 3 touchdowns. I'm going to go out on a limb and say Ole Miss is going to obviously cover the spread, but I think they're going to win outright and beat Kentucky. That's 2 games. And, I hate to just, be riding on Lindsay's coattails, but I think he
I'd ride him. I'd weak. I would definitely ride him. I always, like I said, what's my saying for the show?
Team with the most points
always wins the game. Exactly. Team with the most points always wins the game. So if Lindsay's scoring the most points, I'm riding that pony right there. We're gonna go to the finish line with that guy. So, all right.
Yeah, we'll see.
So we got Texas Tech bringing down the mighty Kansas State Wildcats. And they're playing that game. I think Texas Tech is on the road on that one, aren't they? If I do believe.
I think so.
And it's an early game. It's an 11 a.m. game, which is like my least favorite game of the week because I'm still at work at 11 a.m. on Saturdays. So I'll be listening, though. I'll be watching. We'll keep track on it. So does that cover your segment, Lindsay? We good? Do we get all
pretty much all this stone? I think the best game to watch is going to be the Wake Forest Florida State game, as being the most exciting, worthwhile, rock'em sock'em, duke it out on the gridiron kind of game. I'm really looking forward to that one.
All right, so Lindsay, your segment every week will be Lindsay's lockdowns because clearly you're killing it. So you're our lock, and then we have Jude's cool takes. So Jude gave us his cool takes. He's definitely always going to pick USC. We know that. We definitely know that. So, Jude, you're a true fan. USC appreciates your support on Jude's cool takes. And normally,
I keep it real. I will keep it real.
Hey, look, Texas is going to go like they might not go 6-5 this year, and I'm going to pick them to win in every game. That's what a true fan does. A true fan picks them, and then when they lose, you're like, "That's that coach's fault. Fire him."
True fan talks himself into believing all the reasons why his inferior team can still win a game.
Absolutely, that's what I'm talking about right there. I love it, Jude. That's why we have you on the show, sir. So you can.
Thank you.
You can pick that out, but. So let's talk about some other games. Normally we're gonna have our special guest if he can log on. If he's watching, log on, please. And we'll bring in our special guest, and he'll get this whole special guest right there. We'll bring him on, and then let's go ahead while we're waiting on our special guest. Let's debut our what to watch here, and I will bring that up, and we'll show you Wide Right CFB's Week 5 games to watch. So we're going to want to watch number 7 Kentucky at number 14 Ole Miss. Now this is an early game. It's 11 a.m. It's on ESPN. Really feels like it should be a night game, right? Ole Miss, Kentucky. It should be like night game. The fans are kind of liquored up. There'll be a great energy in the stadium. 11 a.m. is a little early for Ole Miss fans. Just saying.
Man, that's 9 o'clock my time.
9 o'clock. Jude's going to wake up, cup of coffee, Ole Miss and Kentucky. I mean, like, it doesn't get any better, Jude. Doesn't get any better.
I'll be at coaching a basketball game at that time.
Oh, well, we have to get updates from the basketball game, too. We must know how Coach Jude is doing. So,
well, we won last week in a game that I thought was going to probably be our toughest game of the year, even though we lost the game already. So that should have been the toughest game of the year. But preseason, I thought this would have been the toughest game of the year. And we came out on top, so that was cool. We won 29-22. Last week, we lost 40-28 or something like that. And that was a game that I did not think was going to be tough. So, what do you know?
Well, that's why you got to play the game, right? All right.
That's
right.
So
our special guest. We got our special guest. We'll switch over to our special guests here. We'll click on the AP Top 25. We'll add him to the stream. Welcome to our special guest, a player to be named later. What's going on, son? How are you doing?
Doing good.
If anybody doesn't know, this is my son. He's our special guest for the week. And if I could figure out how to add.
No, the video's off
here.
Right now.
Well, turn the video on so we can see your bright, shining face.
Hi. It's dark.
There you go.
You look good.
All right.
Is it Raging Cajun? Oh, no.
No. Oh, Jude, you got me there. I was playing into that.
Let it go there. I hate to chat and run, guys, but I'm running a little bit behind tonight. I'm still working, so I got a boogie.
Right.
But we'll see how well we done on Saturday.
We'll talk
Sounds
Saturday.
good, Lindsay.
All right, Lindsay.
Thanks, guys. Have a great night.
Have a good night.
All right, bye now.
Hey, have a good day.
All right. We'll see if we can make Hunter bigger there. Special guest, Hunter in the chat. Hunter, what's going on, son?
Just taking a minute from work.
All right. So while we're taking a minute from work, why don't you give me your pretenders of the week? Give me 3 pretenders, 3 people this week that you think are just pretending.
I'm gonna roll with. See, I had this all like lined out, and then I completely forgot because I've been at work all day. So Ole Miss, I think will. I'm gonna go with Ole Miss beating Kentucky this week. I think Kentucky could be a pretender. Like they finally favored it in a game, and I just I don't know. I don't know if they keep that momentum going. I think that Ole Miss can pull off the upset, especially with the Real Tree blue camo helmets. And then I'll go with Mississippi State over Texas A&M in Starkville. Mike Leach owns Texas A&M like you own a car, you know. He just drives them around and beats them up whenever he wants because he just owns the Aggies. And
all right,
I'll go ahead with my last pretender. I'll go, and this is an aside to our Salute to Service Academies. Go Navy, beat Air Force. I think Navy beats an Air Force team that's looked really good this year because this is Coach Ken's time to win a Commander-in-Chief trophy one last time.
One last time for Coach Ken. I like it. All right, give me 3 contenders, son, while you're driving. Be careful out there. Please be careful.
I am being careful. That's why I'm not looking at the phone. So I'm going to go with Michigan over Iowa. Whatever the spread is, I think Michigan covers it because I think this is Michigan's first real game against a really good defense, but a very terrible offense. So I think Michigan goes ahead and just steamrolls Iowa to prove a point that they're for real and they're ready to.
You want to hear silliness that came out of Lindsay's mouth about this game? You want to hear some absolute silliness? Lindsay picked Michigan to score 54 points and Iowa to score 21. I don't think either one of those is going to happen. I think even without Justin Jacobs, Iowa's still a better team. They're not going to give up 54 points. What do you think?
I don't see Iowa giving up more than 40 points. That would be insane to me if Iowa gave up 40 points. They're just too good defensively. I'm stopped now, so light on. Hello. I'm gonna take off the hat, so cover the logo real quick.
So are we sponsored by Domino's currently? Are we being
No,
sponsored by
we
Domino's?
are not.
No.
We are not. We are not sponsored by Domino's. We
All
are
right, just make
kicking.
sure.
Um,
Just make sure.
we are kicking.
All right.
Anyway, so I think that Michigan wins 34-17. Iowa's has found a little bit of offense, but it's just not gonna mean anything. And I think Michigan's offense, they got tested a little bit against Maryland, and they found out that, hey, we can run the football and we can run it well, and that's what they're going to do against Iowa. And it should be a hard-hitting game that I think Michigan just kind of puts themselves out in front and doesn't lose.
I like it. I like it. All
The
right,
other
give me
contender, I think Alabama. They're gonna have a tough game against Arkansas, but I think they go in and that they just prove that they're the number 2 team in the country, if not number 1, and they're gonna beat an Arkansas team that's reeling a little bit from a very emotional loss at Texas A&M.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen that ball hit the top of the goalpost. I was kind of shocked.
Yeah, that's first time. That may be the first time ever in the history of college football. And then
give me one more contender.
My final contender. Oof. Sorry, I didn't have one picked out, so I'm gonna have to think on my feet real quick. I'm gonna go. I know it's our game of the week.
Texas State.
I know it's our game of the week, but I think Clemson. They finally, DJU had that big game that he's been looking for the last year and a half. He finally got that big game. I think he found some confidence in himself and in the offense and in his wide receivers and his tight ends. I think that now that he has that confidence to know I can put that ball there and succeed, I think that Clemson will beat NC State at home at night. Game of the week, everyone's game of the week. I think Clemson, behind the arm of DJU, wins that game.
All right. So let's talk about some games to watch. Now, I talked about the Hurricane games. It's unfortunate that this SMU UCF game is going to get moved to Sunday, and it's not going to have any TV coverage. But let's talk about a couple other games that will have some TV coverage. We did cover number 7 Kentucky traveling to Ole Miss, playing them at Ole Miss plays in where, Hunter?
They're playing. Oh, they play in Mississippi.
I call it the Grove. In Mississippi.
The Grove. Yes.
All right. Anyways, they play at 11 a.m. on ESPN.
Oxford.
Yeah, Oxford. There you go. All right. Another game we have, and I think this is going to be a tremendous game. And unfortunately, I believe this game should be played at night. This should be a night game. Unfortunately, it's going to start at 2:30 p.m. Central Time, and that's going to be number 22 Wake Forest at number 23 Florida State. Florida State fans bring this electric energy to any big game. And when you get the chop going, I don't think there's anything better than the chop. I mean, the chop is pretty amazing. When you hear 50,000 people doing the when they have Chief Osceola come out and spear the middle of the field, I mean, I just want to put my helmet on and go run through a brick wall for those guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a player at Florida State, when they start doing the chop, I think it adds a little something extra to you. It's like playing Thunderstruck right before you go into a big brawl. But
gives you some swag.
Yeah, give you some swag. I like this game. I really like Wake Forest. I think Wake Forest has got a tremendous offense. I think Florida State's going to score a ton of points, but I think Wake Forest is going to outscore them. I'm actually going to go with the team that scores the most points in this game, and I think it's going to be Wake Forest.
I'll ride with the over.
Right with the over. Definitely, I would take the over on this game. They're definitely going to score a lot of points. Another game that we're going to watch this week is number 9 Oklahoma State at number 16 Baylor. This is another 2:30 game. It's on Fox. This is going to be a test right here. If Oklahoma State beats Baylor here and beats them convincingly, Oklahoma State's for real. Spencer Sanders is for real. I think that Mike Gundy is one of the most underrated coaches in America. I know that he's always had some silliness come out of his mouth, but he is a good coach, and I think he's got the respect of his players no matter what decade he's coached in. He's definitely a very underrated coach. I think he's a great coach. I also think Dave Aranda's a great coach. I don't think Dave Aranda's going to be at Baylor for long, so they better enjoy him as long as they have him. Yeah. That's my thoughts. Give you all some other games to watch. I think some interesting games to watch this week. will be number 18 Oklahoma. They're going to travel to Fort Worth to play TCU. Basically, they're going to the Metroplex 2 weeks in a row. This could be a tough game. So TCU's got a brand new coach this year. This guy named Sonny Dykes. He really should have probably been the Texas Tech coach. He's the son of legendary Texas Tech coach Spike Dykes. Sonny Dykes has been coaching SMU for a few years. He's a really, really good coach. I really respect Sonny Dykes a lot. And I think that he's in one of those situations where he's going to pick up the baton that Gary Patterson left at TCU, and he's going to run with it. And I think it's going to be they're going to be a tough team to beat. I don't think they're an easy out. And then another game to watch. I know we're going to stay in the Big 12 on this one. Still, Texas Tech and Kansas State. I think Lindsey might be right on Texas Tech being able to pick off Kansas State. And by this point, if Texas Tech beats two top 25 teams, they will be ranked next week because they played some. The only loss was to a top 10 team, and they weren't in the game, but they were traveling.
They weren't
to North
out
Carolina.
of it.
They weren't out of it. They just didn't really kind of mesh well together with them. So I think it's going to be a decent game.
Both teams coming off big emotional wins.
We have a game that nobody's talking about, and the winner of this game needs to be ranked. And this is another Big 12 game. This is going to be at 2:30 p.m. Iowa State at Kansas. If Kansas can't get any love after this week, I don't know what the hell's going on. Kansas will be, I think they'll be 5-0 this week if they win.
Yep.
They are a real team. They are a real team. If you're anybody in the Big 12, you do not want to face a very white-hot Kansas team right now. I think Kansas handles business. I think it's going to be a slugfest. They beat Iowa State. I don't know what the score is. 7-3. I don't know. We can get silly on scores.
Rock Chalk Jayhawk. Rock Chalk
Jayhawk. So let's roll over to the Big 10 of the 2:30 game on FS1. We have Michigan State facing Maryland. Now, Michigan State, they could be in big trouble this week. Maryland is not a team you can sleep on. They're not the best team in the world, but Talia Tagovailoa is a good quarterback. He can make them pay if they don't show up to this game. They're traveling to Maryland, so I'd like to see. I also like to see how weather plays into a lot of these games on the East Coast this week. I know that the hurricane's hitting Florida, but it has a tendency to travel at coast, and we could get some extra special weather enhancements to each game. So we could have some heavy downpours in these games, which really it shouldn't be a factor, but it's gonna be a factor, if you know what I mean. So
with Michigan State and Maryland, Michigan State is in a must-win position right now, and Maryland has proven that they can exploit poor passing defenses, and Michigan State's passing defense has been very porous so far this season.
All right, so I want to talk about another game that shouldn't have been played, but it's being played for some reason. We have Fresno State traveling across country to play UConn at 2:30 p.m. on CBS Sports Network. So, Hunter, tell me why we should watch this game. Give me a one reason. Give me a one reason to watch this game.
If you are a fan of the UConn Huskies or a fan of just probably what's going to be a terrible game, because that's a what, 12-hour flight or 8-hour flight, something like that, a crazy long flight. Fresno State's going to be completely out of whack, and UConn, led by Jim Moore Jr., is going to be ready to play some type of football. Is it good football? Is it football? Yes. And if you want to watch football, hey, I do want to see how UConn handles a Fresno State team that's reeling. They're still reeling from losing their best quarterback, or they're losing their quarterback, losing to USC like they did, and going across the country like that. It's gonna be so hard for Fresno State. UConn, it has to find something, and I think they find something against Fresno State.
All right. I want to talk about a little action. Can we talk about a little action? Anybody ready to talk about some action? Now, it's not Tuesday yet. We don't have any action on Tuesday, but we got some action going on here. We have Central Michigan playing Toledo at 2:30. This game's going to be on NFL Network. So if you have NFL Network, tune in. You're going to want to watch this game. I think it's going to be an exciting game. Central Michigan is a pretty good team. They are definitely – they have some fun. They have some fun out there. They're definitely going to be fun to watch. So, Hunter, tell me why Central Michigan wins this game.
Lou Nichols III.
Are we related?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Just checking. So,
just a very good running back. Very good.
Very good running back. All right. And then a game that I picked, I'm kind of interested in this. It's going to be an evening game. It's going to start at 5 p.m. on ESPN Plus. Liberty at Old Dominion. Now, Old Dominion is going for the sweep of Virginia here, right? They're going to try to take the sweep of Virginia. Well, okay, they're going to try to take the
Virginia.
Okay,
Majority.
so they're going to try to win the Battle of Virginia, right?
Yeah.
This seals it up, right? They're not playing Richmond or anything like that, are they? They're not going to go play the Spiders?
I don't think they're playing their Spiders.
All right, so Liberty at Old Dominion. Who do you have winning this game, son?
I'm going to go with the Monarchs.
The Monarchs. Wow, you sailor.
I love Old Dominion. I like how they've really brought a culture into that program, and Ricky Ronnie. I like that program a lot. I like how they've approached it. I think they need to find a little offense, but I think Liberty could be in a bit of a tight spot, and I think that Old Dominion can beat them. I think Liberty makes mistakes, and that Old Dominion has proven that they don't make a lot of mistakes, and they can exploit a lot of mistakes.
All right, so we're going to head over to the Fun Belt. All right, I want to talk about two games that have Fun Belt teams involved. One of them is a team that I like, and the other one is has a coach that I would like to drown in the bathtub. All right, let's talk about UL Monroe versus Arkansas State. I like Terry Bowden. I think he's a really good guy. I think he's got some really good characteristics about him. Butch Jones, I think we could hold him. We could tie some bricks to his feet, kick him in the ocean, and I don't think anybody would miss him except for maybe his barber. So, anyways, with that said, Hunter, tell me why you think UL Monroe is going to take down Arkansas State.
3 words: Terry Bowden swag.
Terry Bowden swag. All right. Is he gonna be wearing a sweater on the sideline this week?
The gold sweater? No, I don't know. We'll see. But I think that UL Monroe, they've looked better and better every week since their loss to Texas. They've lost some games since, but they keep looking better. It's like every week since Terry Bowden's gotten there, that team has gone from one of the worst teams in all of college football to a team that looks like that they may not be able to win the Sun Belt, but they could be a real threat for it. They could certainly be a real threat for the Sun Belt West, and I'm going to go ahead and roll with the Warhawks of UL Monroe.
All right, Jude, who you got? UL Monroe versus Arkansas State. Who are you taking in this game? UL Monroe's played some pretty tough games. Arkansas State has Butch Jones. Who do you got?
I'll go with Arkansas State in that game.
Oh, nice. Nice with some parity in our picks. I like it. I'm definitely going to go with the team that scores the most points. So, all right, we have one more. We got one more Fun Belt involved game. We have Troy traveling to Western Michigan. I'm sorry, not Western Michigan, Western Kentucky. What, Hunter? Tell the millions and the millions or the couple people watching right now. What do I like most about Western Kentucky?
Chrome helmets.
You got it. You can't get any. And what else do they have? Chrome, but what?
Red chrome helmets. Red chrome face masks. The Hilltoppers.
When them in Louisville do that, I don't know what it is. I normally don't like red, but that's fun to watch. Fun to watch. So who do you got? Troy traveling to Western Kentucky, Hunter.
I'm going to go with Western Kentucky. They've got a great passing offense. Troy has struggled a little bit against the passing offenses this year. I think Western Kentucky exploits that, but Troy's going to be a tough out. They've had some emotional games. That Hail Mary loss to App State, and they came out and they really took it to Marshall. I mean, they're posting pictures of their players with paint chipped off their helmets out hard and how much they were hitting. Troy's all about their defense. Western Kentucky's all about their offense. So this is kind of a light version, a diet version of an unstoppable force versus a movable object. So it could be real fun.
All right, Drew, what do you think? Who do you got in this game? Troy versus Western Kentucky.
I'm going to go with the nickname, and the Troy nickname I believe is Trojans. So
yep, yeah.
Jude, I like where you're going with this. All right,
Keep the parity in the picks.
Yeah.
All right, so
That
brings us to our game of the week, and everybody kind of knows by now what our game of the week is, but let's go ahead and debut that. That's number 10 NC State at number 5 Clemson. I think this has playoff implications all over it. I know NC State's offense is as good as Clemson's defense is in my brain. My brain's telling me that their offense is going to struggle with them, but my brain is also telling me that if there's one team that can make DJU look really, really silly this week, it would be NC State. NC State really, they didn't put Texas Tech away when they played them, but man, they really didn't make them look great. You know what I mean? Like they really held them back. I think they have a really good defense. Jude, what's your thoughts on Clemson and NC State? Do you think this is going to be a tight game, or do you think DJU has finally found his swag and he's going to go slay that dragon in North Carolina?
I think DJU found his swag last week, but I think he also blew his wad. I think NC State's gonna own him.
All right, Hunter. What do you got? All right, Jude. Before we go to Hunter, do you have a score in mind?
Yeah, I'll say 38-24.
Ooh, I like it. That's a lot of points. Hunter, give me a score. NC State at Clemson.
Give me a second, guys. Someone's knocking on my door. Give me a second.
All right,
Okay.
that'll work.
Well, while he's gone, man, USC really sick. No,
He can still hear you.
no, I think I'll just give a little. I already kind of previewed how I felt about this game. I think that DJU has found that groove, and he's kind of been working on all year. He's looked a little bit better each game. Had that big game against Wake Forest, and generally with Dabo Sweeney guys, they usually have a big game and they keep having big games. They don't lose that big game ability if they stay in the game. So I think DJU keeps it going. NC State's got probably the best defense in the ACC for a team not named Clemson. Clemson's defense has looked a little suspect, but NC State's offense has not looked very impressive at all this year. Not saying, but obviously this could be the game that it happens, that everything clicks and they just put up a ton of points. But knowing Clemson, that's not going to be the case.
So give me let's talk about the game inside of the game. Let's talk about that other little portion that adds something to this game. This game is played at what's called Death Valley, one of two stadiums in the college football called Death Valley. It's in Clemson, South Carolina. This is going to be a 6:30 kickoff our time in Central Standard Time. So this is going to be a 7:30 coastal kick. Could be weather involved. Could be some weather. Might be some lingering showers involved. I'm not sure on the weather. We really need to check into that. But the fans are definitely going to be there for this matchup. This is definitely going to be a heavy fan-driven game. They have some tremendous fans in Clemson. I like the run-in that the players do. They come down the hill. They jump over the little hill there. The coach is fired up. The fans are fired up. They hit the rock. I mean, this is like that game inside the game, like that extra added oomph that comes with this, being a home game, playing a top 10 opponent. This is a top 10 matchup. This has playoff implications all over it. There's definitely going to be
conference
some
playoff
electricity in
everything.
the air. Exactly. So, do you think does that add to it any? Do you feel like that adds something to it? Do you think that's going to be a disadvantage for North Carolina?
That will be in it. That I don't necessarily know if it would be a disadvantage for North Carolina, but it certainly will be an advantage for the Clemson defense, right? I know from playing football in high school that offensively, when it's really loud, it's hard to make things happen, even if you know the play just from hand signals, let alone and then playing defense. When the crowd's really into it, it's very easy to play defense when the crowd's into the game, because the offense is more worried about the crowd. Players aren't necessarily 100% focused, and you have all that kind of silent attention ready to go. So I think that I can only imagine with 60, 80,000 people, however fill up Death Valley, South Carolina, that Clemson's defense will have a big advantage compared to what they had in Wake Forest. It's at night, and like I said, this NC State's offense has not looked great, and it's going to need to be great in order to beat a Clemson team that finally got that marquee win, a quarterback that got his marquee game back, and that I think a team that's ready to go and prove that not only they're a top 5 team, but they're a top 4 team, right? Clemson wants to be back in the playoff. They think that, they believe that they should be considered, a powerhouse program and shouldn't be kind of laughed at and considered a faux 5, that they think that they're for real. and that they're going to look to prove that against NC State, and they're going to have to, because NC State is not going to, NC State wants to prove that they're a contender. So these are two teams that could be contenders, could be pretenders, are going to swing for the fences on each other. And you're going to, I don't think you're going to see a lot of points, though. I think that this is going to be marked by defenses really just teething into the other team's offenses. And I know Jude's been gone for a little bit, so I'm going to go ahead and throw my score out, and I'll tell him when he comes back. But I'm going to go Clemson 28-24. This game will be no blowout, and it won't be high scoring.
It's close-ish, 28-24. I like that score. That's a good score. So
that to me says defense.
Yeah, I think that the score could be in that neighborhood. I think it's going to be an interesting game. So while we're waiting, we'll go back up here, and I'll go ahead and click on this guy right here, and we'll show some more top 25 teams there. It's one of those things where I don't think two SEC teams are going to get in this year unless you have multiple losses by other schools. Like, I think whoever wins the Big Ten, they're getting in. Whoever wins the SEC, they're getting in. Whoever wins the ACC, they're getting in. And I think the winner of the Big 12 is probably going to get in if it's not USC. And that's where I think this is where that I wish the playoffs right now, if you could tell me that the top 8 teams are going to be in the playoffs, I think it really would make it a lot better, because there's some hungry teams. I mean, like, you're going to have a conference champion not playing this game, and you're going to have some upset SEC fans because one of their teams that lost that SEC championship game is out. If it's Georgia and Alabama, they play for the national championship, and Alabama has a loss and they beat Georgia, the loser's out. Because you can't go tell me an undefeated USC team's not going to play. I mean, like, that would create some uproar.
Money alone says that an undefeated USC team goes to the CFP. I think it'd be real unfortunate for a 2-loss Texas team that wins the Big 12 to not play in the CFP. But it happens. They'll be 12-2, and they'll beat Alabama in a rematch, because Alabama is going to have 2 losses because they'll lose to Georgia in the SEC championship game, and Texas will be 12-2, and real bright start. After kind of a doldrum 2-2 start, be 12-2 to close out this season. For a CFP push next season. I can't take myself seriously there.
Nice.
I think that USC, if USC goes undefeated, and they've looked good and they've looked pedestrian, against Oregon State. USC has to beat Utah, in order to make the CFP, just because they have to be undefeated. A Pac-12 team with 1 loss will not get in over a Big 12 team with 2 losses, just because of how the committee views these teams, especially with Georgia trouncing Oregon, and Oregon looking good except for that one game where they got pantsed on national television by Georgia. So
I'm just saying right now, if what holds the par, I mean, if Clemson goes undefeated, Georgia and Alabama play for the SEC championship game, and you have an undefeated, say, Oklahoma State team, you have an undefeated USC team, the loser of that game is out, because you can't go and tell these top-ranked schools that they're not going to play after they've beaten everybody. It just is what it is. I mean, you know what you signed up to play for. You know what you signed up to play for. I mean, I know SEC fans are like Texas fans. They're unrealistic sometimes. But you know what you signed up to play for. You lose that game, you're out. It doesn't, I'm sorry to say that. But the good thing is we have enough games between now and the end of the season that I think it's probably going to work itself out. Every time it looks bleak, like you're like, oh, no, this is just going to be a disaster. It kind of works itself out. You know what I mean? So
like I said, that USC Utah game, Oak State has to beat Baylor, right? This is going to be Oak State's biggest challenge. This is a rematch of the Big 12 championship that they lost in, that Spencer Sanders. Now, Oak State didn't lose that game. Spencer Sanders lost that game. I hate to go and call one player the reason. He was the reason.
The turnovers definitely don't help.
5 picks cannot happen. You throw 5 interceptions, you might as well take your pads off because the game is more than likely over, unless you're playing Texas State. But I think that's kind of how that goes for Oak State. Oak State, the Big 12 is a wide open conference this year, and it could be one of those. It could be like one of those years, like 2014, where the Big 12 keeps itself out of the CFP by a loss late in the season or early in the season. The Big 12 champion has one extra loss that it shouldn't have had, but the conference being so close in parity this year. I mean, all the teams right now look like they could beat each other, right? There's no team now with K-State beating Oklahoma that you're like, oh, this team's going to run away with the conference. The only two teams right now that look like they could run away with the conference are Oak State and Kansas. Kansas looks like they could run away with the Big 12, but even then, I just I don't see it. Oak State's the only team that can go undefeated, in my opinion, in the Big 12.
All right, so this seems to be a recurring theme every week, and I covered it earlier in the college football news with the change in coaching. You got Jeff Collins he's out. Todd Stansbury's out at Georgia Tech. Who's the next coach this week that gets fired? Who do you think in your heart of hearts, your mind of minds, who do you think's gone after this week?
Who does Missouri play? Georgia, right?
Yeah. I'm going to disagree with you. I don't think Elijah Drinkowitz gets fired this week. But I have a name in mind, but I'll let you go spitball another name out if you want. I think Andy Avalos is pretty safe. I don't think that Boise State's going to move on for their coach in the middle of the season. I don't think, but it could happen, right? And definitely once we hit past this point, we're kind of like, we're not – once we get past next week, we're past the midway point of the season technically. So you're going to start to see some attrition when teams finally decide, like, hey, it's time to move on from this guy. Let's put ourselves in a better position for recruiting, portal guys, With all that said, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Like, hey, when do we move on? A name that I'm thinking about, and I really hate it for the guy because I think he's probably a pretty decent coach, but I think he's in a really bad place right now, and that's Colorado's coach, Karl Dorrell. I think Karl Dorrell is a good football coach. I think he's going to recover. He's going to find a job that's going to showcase his talents as a coach. I think Colorado is a broken program, and it's once proud program, and once very proud program, it's just broken. I don't think they have a recruiting base anymore. I don't think they have the support of the administration at the school. I think that's why the football team's suffering, and they're not helping their coach out. Unfortunately, I think their coach is going to be the next one that goes. I think he's a good coach. I've seen him coach at other schools, and he's shown his talents. But unfortunately, with how bad Colorado is and the lack of support they get from their administration, their school, and their state, I think Colorado definitely. I think they're going to move on. They play Arizona. It's going to be a night game. I just think they get embarrassed by a really bad Arizona team, and
Arizona's not a bad team.
Well,
not a great team. I mean. They're an improving team.
All right,
an improving team.
They're going to get beat by an average Arizona team. They're going to make Arizona's going to look exceptional against Colorado. Colorado's going to come out. They're going to play for their coach, and then just dollars to donuts are going to get outplayed. I feel bad for Karl Dorrell. I really do. I think like I said, he's a really, really good coach. He's just in a really bad situation with how they have how Colorado treats their program. I mean, you have a program that a Heisman Trophy has come from, right? It's like Syracuse. Syracuse has Heisman Trophy winners, and now they're starting to act like a school that has Heisman Trophy winners. You know what I mean?
Yep.
If you have somebody win a Heisman Trophy, football should be a priority. It brings pride to your school. It brings money to your school. It brings eyeballs to your school. Football doesn't bring anything bad unless you have bad people in charge of football. And right now
they have an awesome run out.
What's that?
Colorado has an awesome run out with the Buffalo.
Can't go
That's awesome.
Wrong with
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love it.
So, unfortunately, I think Colorado's broken until they take football more seriously. I think teams like, Syracuse, Illinois, those are going to be teams that are going to take that spotlight away from Colorado. I think Colorado's going to drop to the bottom of their conference, and they're going to be like the likes of Arizona State, where they're a team with no direction. So
I agree.
So unfortunately, Jude's still gone. We kind of need to probably wrap the show up right now.
Yeah,
Hunter, thanks for joining us. I know you're working. You need to get back to work so you can go make some money. Jude, thank you for coming on. Thank you to there he is. We spoke his name.
He's got glasses
back.
now. Glasses.
Oh, yeah.
He always has glasses.
I do have to
So
go.
Jude, we're reaching kind of the end of our time limit here.
I'm sorry, man.
No, you're good, man. You're good. Do you have any closing thoughts on this week's college football?
Do I have any what?
Do you have any closing thoughts for this week's college football before we go and
Any
watch
quotes?
the games? Any closing
man.
thoughts?
Closing thoughts. Yes, I do. Heisman hopeful. Keep an eye out for, I don't know, just pick a name out of the hat. How about Caleb Williams? I think he's got a case at winning the Heisman this year. And I want to thank you for everybody for watching. And remember, you can't spell SEC without S and C. Fight on.
All right. So I'm gonna go solo here, and I'm gonna tell everybody. I'm gonna thank everybody for watching. Please join us on Saturday night as we recap Week 5 in college football. I'd like to thank everybody that hopped on and joined us. Lindsay, Hunter, Jude. I'd like to thank everybody in the chat. Diabolical 58, Bocce, and Raging Cajun Garage. Thank you very much for watching. We will see you next week. And remember, we have our 500 subscriber giveaway. So in order to win, you have to be subscribed. So, in the famous words of John Madden, the team that scores the most points always wins the game. Thanks for watching.